Hi, everybody, and hi, Miss Kareen, my cosmic sister and cosmic wonder and master. And welcome to the Cosmic Sister Show with me and Kareen. And we are opening the portal to Insight 11 today. Insight 11 from the Celestine Prophecy. The importance of synchronicity. Have we talked about synchronicity before? So, when we begin to trust the rhythm of the universe, synchronicity, synchronicity becomes our compass. And, it increases also. The more we pay attention to it, the more it increases. Meaningful coincidences are not random, they are sacred signals guiding us toward alignment, purpose, and soul connection. In this heart expanding episode, we explore how divine timing and unexpected encounters are the soul's way of whispering, "You're on the right path." Let's decode the language of synchronicity together and awaken to the living guidance all around us. And today we have Wednesday, October 8th. Can't believe this. We are almost at the end of this year. It goes so fast.
Yes.
And again, we talk about the Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield, Insight 11, the importance of synchronicity. Meaningful coincidences guide us. So we, Cosmic Sisters, launched a 12-part series in May this year where Karine and I dive into the Celestial Prophecies, all insights. And throughout the year, we have explored um, the insights up until the 11th, which is we're going to talk about today. And it's going to culminate in a full summary at the end of everything in probably 4 weeks from now, right? Because
Hmm.
in 2 weeks, we have the 12th. And after that, it's 2 weeks for the summary. Join the journey, and we stream twice a month. That means every 2 weeks. So you can still participate with us. If you want to see the whole series and our other series that we did about the 4 agreements this year, you can go to angelplaceonearth.com/series dash cosmic dash guardians. And of course, you can find all upcoming and past episodes at angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming dash past and youtube.com/at angelplaceonearth/streams. My goodness. Dash and slash, right?
Yes.
So our last show here with Cosmic Sisters was last Wednesday, October 1st. And we talked about something really great: power in the pushback. It is okay to say no, way, or go away. Okay? So, again, if you missed anything, you can go to angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming dash past or youtube.com/at angelplaceonearth/streams. There we have all our episodes. And
Fantastic.
of course, you can connect with us, me and Kareen. You can find phone numbers, you can find emails, everything you need if you want to connect with us. Upcoming shows, past episodes, and more. There are all the links in there. Read articles at angelplaceonearth.com/cosmic guardians. That's easier, right? We always go live for you on Wednesdays in US and Europe and Thursdays in Australia every week throughout the year. And usually we are live like we are today. Sometimes once in a while there will come a pre-recorded, but usually it's live, right? And yeah, I think I said everything I wanted to say. Let's dive into the 11th insight.
Well, I'm not going to let you off the hook. I'm going to invite you to read the little insert that you put in there. That's actually our James Redfield's words, and then we can play with it. But it's always nice to. This is where we're coming from, folks. This is what the man said.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, we can mention a little bit about James Redfield. I think he wrote the books in the 90s or 89.
89, yeah,
89.
early
Wow.
90s, yeah.
I started reading in the late 90s,
Yeah.
99, probably 2000, around that year. And when I read the first book, I was hooked. I couldn't stop.
Yes.
Then we had 10 insights, and then they have become 12 insights, right? So, what
Yes.
James Redfield says is in this level of consciousness, we become more purpose driven and receptive to how those in afterlife are lifting us up. We begin to comprehend the real nature of prayer and guided process. We realize that prayer works within karmic design. The more we are in alignment with the principle of giving and our inner intuition to accurately help others, we will sense our heightened creative power and see it working through our prayers. When we use this power for uplifting the spiritual consciousness, I can't talk today, of others, we draw more powerful people into our lives to uplift us. The key is discovering that affirmative prayer practiced with the emotion of gratitude, it will happen, establishes the strongest faith validity.
Mm.
That is really strong, really strong.
Yes. And I love the way that he puts these words together. And what he wrote so many years ago was on the edge of comprehension and possibility, and we're living it now. We're really living it every single day, and learning to get into that synchronicity just makes lives so much easier. And it's during this incredible journey where we've examined our strengths and our vulnerabilities. We've seen the power of intuition. We're gaining the ability to trust our inner knowing and become aware of how, when we recognize these synchronicities, those subtle guides take us on this great adventure. And we've also learned how others will do anything to have this power to sustain their ego while ignoring the whole of humanity. And we came here as members of humanity to assist humanity to move into the higher dimensions. And
Yes.
we found that by connecting to our own energy, this is how we stay alive. But it's interesting, and I'm going to insert this right away so people can start pondering it. One of my students called me the other night and said that she had been transported into a secret location in Arizona where she was privy to seeing that they are building a machine that is it's built, and they've turned it on, and it is distorting timelines and distorting dimensions. And she said, well, what do I do about what I'm seeing? And I said, it is encouraging all of us to again let our intention that is for humanity to assist those that are basically on the ground trying to rectify this. But I had several people call me that they were having a heaviness and they felt out of balance. And this is a real thing. This is really happening. She said there's also a lot more of these plants that they're doing. And I'm going, are we living the book that was written so many years ago? Because it talks about this secret, and she hasn't read the book. It's not like she's, thinking this up. And I was speaking to her mother. Her mother was feeling all of this before the daughter told her about this. And one of my other students called up and said, I have this crushing feeling. And this is what we're working with. We're working with these energies that are supposed to propel us into the higher realms. And literally, there is a force that does not want Earth to reach its potential. So, what I'm inviting people to understand is don't take my word for it, do some research. Listen to the subtle things that are happening to you. Have you felt out of sync? Have you felt like off balance? Because these are indications that something is happening, and it doesn't have to be negative. It just has to be that we are in a point now where if we just take the time to focus our intent and put
Yeah.
that energy out there, so it will be part of the force that moves this into the way that it needs to go and eliminate all the other stuff. But not fear, because fear
No.
projects fear. We
Yeah.
project loving energy, and but this is why when I'm going, we had planned this program 12 months ago, right? And I'm going
Yeah.
every week. The universe goes, hey, you get to live what we're talking about today. And I wanted to share that we are vital and very important to helping this come to fruition. So please honor and respect how valuable you are. And it's not what job you have or what people have said about you or what color you are. This has nothing to do with your energy. And holding that loving energy is going to help you and it's going to help humanity. And now I'm going to take a break.
You are so right. Many times maybe we feel like I'm just one person. What can I do? But
Uh-huh.
if it spreads, and everybody takes responsibility for their own energy and what they feel in alignment to, and the rest. Um, of course, we can come to a place where it's going to be a change. And I can tell you that the last a little bit over 5 years, I think that people have been feeling that this is a really crazy world. A lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those who I talk to, they feel out of alignment. They know, I don't know what's going on, what's happening. I don't understand. And it's people my age. I mean, had, I'm in the middle of my life, but I'm 61, um, but I had so many experiences, but the last 5 years has been over the top crazy somehow, because everything we thought we knew about the physical world is off.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a sign. At the same time, we don't need to be fearful because, as you said, if we focus on fear, that's what we're going to create more of. We don't need to fear, but we need to go within and really ponder about, who am I? Is this what I want? Am I going to be someone just following? And someone who chooses that, that's okay too. But I don't want to judge anyone, right? But at the
Right.
same time, most people actually deep down within are longing for coming back home, which is here within,
Mm-hmm.
and living in peace with each other, having a great life, not having to worry about all those things that are coming to surface right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and exactly as you said too, yeah, it's so incredibly fascinating because we're always living. what we are going to talk about, sometimes before, sometimes afterwards, right?
Yes, yes.
Uh, but synchronicity and walking this path, it is the most incredible thing one can do. It can feel a little bit more like we take baby steps in the beginning because it's a vast new world that opens up for us.
Yes.
But just be courageous, dive straight in. There's nothing to fear, nothing to worry about.
Mhm.
Everything is going to be great in the end, right?
Yes. And we're getting a lot of visitations, from our off-world uh, advisors. They're strictly advisors, and from an encounter that I had with my friend that's Octarian, and she said yes, any one of our motherships could fix the Earth, but the humans messed it up, and it's your job to clean up your mess. It's like when you're teaching a 2-year old, they spill the milk, you don't yell at them. What you do, you give them a rag and let them clean it up. It's a little messy while we're trying to learn, but eventually we're going to learn how to clean it better. And they're there for support, but we still have to remember who we are. The last 3 nights of meditation. Every Tuesday, I have a meditation group here. And it's really different because what I do, everybody relaxes, and then I take them into the oneness. And then I bring them back. I don't leave them out there hanging. I bring all the kids home. Uh, but there is always a message that comes. And the message that has been very important, and it comes up every time that we have meditation, is to remember who you are,
Yeah,
and and
yeah,
and trigger that, because this is where we will we will be that gem. We will have that brilliant light that sheds light so someone else can see where they're going. Yes, I teach classes, but I am not a teacher. I am a facilitator. I hold the light so you will be able to see your path. I may, like a caddy, I may read the line for you. I may hold the club for you, but you have to take the club and hit the shot. And this is what each of us come for. We didn't come here to do this alone. And all of these ancestors that are focusing on the beautiful reawakening of humanity, we're part of that.
yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm like a little kid. I get all excited. It just it it
that,
it is.
that that is so beautiful.
I'm getting goosebumps because it's just like wonderful. It is wonderful.
Yeah, it is fantastic. And I think we said this before also. Something else that is really fantastic. You read these insights way before me, but when I read them, it's quite a few years
About the same
also
time.
since I read them.
Yeah.
I have the books, but I haven't read them for maybe 10, 15 years or something. But it's so refreshing and uplifting to realize when we go through all the insights, well, I live like this, and you live
Yeah.
like this.
Yes.
See? Because it's pure, simple information. It's not over the top fluffy. It's not something strange. Because in essence, for me, and this is my perception, spirituality is not really strange. It's something we feel when we touch something or hear something. Oh,
It's
it
living.
resonates. Yeah,
Yes.
it it resonates. So
Yeah.
it's absolutely fantastic. And because we are talking about synchronicity, of course, we're going to have a lot of synchronicities. So life itself is not a series of random events, right? Beneath the surface of every experience lies a subtle pattern, a rhythm that connects people, places, and moments in ways that defy logic.
Yes.
This pattern is known as synchronicity, and it serves as a guiding force um, in our spiritual journey. So, when synchronicity often appears as meaningful coincidences. We may call it coincidences, but I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in synchronicity. So, you think of someone and they call you. You stumble upon a book that answers a question you have been pondering. These moments are not accidents. They are invitations to pay attention, to tune in, and to trust that life is speaking to you. And I can share a little bit of a personal story from a few days ago, too, because I was planning my trip back from Greece to Sweden. So obviously, I need to book a ticket, right? Flight. And I got a message one morning from a friend of mine. She's a medium. And she said, "You know what? Everything well with you? Um, your soul sister Sue came by and she passed. It's 2.5 years now, almost three
Hmm.
soon." And I said, "No, everything is fine." And I said, "Did she say anything to you?" And she said, "No, she didn't. But I had this feeling, and I'm always very chilled out. And I said, okay, I'm going to understand what it is in one way or another."
Yeah.
So the day after, I booked my ticket, and all tickets were very, very expensive, only one way and the flight, nothing more, right? But I found one ticket on her birthday, 22nd of October, that was half price of the other tickets. So I said, now I know why you came. Thank you.
Yes. Because it brings you to thought. And it's interesting because Einstein was quoted as saying, coincidences are God's way of trying to get your attention.
Yeah,
And when we take away that, where is this coming from, and the fear that we've been taught that if you hear voices you're going crazy. Well, we don't hear voices, we hear energy. But these are the subtle way of just kind of giving you a nudge to wake up, to hear, to be aware. And then, as my favorite word is to allow
yeah,
it to come and see what is going to be coming from that, rather than going, oh, what am I going to do? She sent me a message, I didn't get my message, maybe she should have stayed longer.
yeah,
And in doing all of this, which pushes everything away, you just said, well, this is going to be interesting, we'll see what happens. And then very
yeah, exactly.
subtly, boom, and you go, okay, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because I wanted to say that too, because what we do, and I've done that in the past, I've seen spirits and had connections and sensed things all my life. But I started my conscious journey around the year 2000, right? And I
Mhm.
think I said that before. What I mean by that is it was a choice, a conscious choice. I'm going to
Yes.
dig within now. I'm going to do whatever I can to find what all of this means, right? At the beginning, like most people, I was on the surface level. And I had a very vivid dream. Um, I dreamt about someone. I was living with that person, and he was in the military, like when you do your military 20 years of age. And he was 21 and I was 20. And we were together for 2 years, and he died in an accident all of a sudden, very young. And after quite a few years, I've seen him other times too, but he came to me in a vivid dream. And it was like meeting each other in that dream, seeing each other, saying, "Hey, you didn't change, long time no see," funny things of that nature, right? And he said, Everything is going to be fine." And I think those were the words also that kind of made me, oh, because he came, what's going to happen now? Is something going to happen? So I did the same thing. See?
Hmm.
But when we are trying to understand synchronicities and messages or things that are happening to us, because everything is basically a sign, but we can't sit all the time and try to figure out why is that thing sounding over there, right?
Hmm.
So it's much better to just relax, and it's going to come eventually. You're going to understand, you're going to get it. And when
Yes.
we have special things that are happening out of the ordinary, write them down in a notebook, just time, date, and whatever it was. That's it. And you
Yeah.
can go back, and that's how you can learn also. How does this work for me? What happens? Because at a certain amount of time, I was covered in angel numbers. And I had a lot of attention of angel numbers, and I started to write them down, but I stopped with that after a couple of months because basically everywhere I looked, there were numbers 555, 1111,
Yes.
2222, because we go here with the military clock. And I said, my goodness, I can't write them down all the time. So when we
Yes.
get signs also, that means, or synchronicities, what else is going on at the same time? Is someone else saying something? Do you hear music? Is there a train or an airplane flying by? Do you, what are you doing?
Yes.
So that way you can understand more meaning, right?
And I think as we began our journey, it's so similar, um, because I also with the signs coming in as with through the numbers, and I think we do this with enthusiasm, and it's part of it's a facet of our learning, and then we kind of become it, and then we're not so obsessed with it. And I like what you say here about living in alignment, and I think you and I have been doing it for so long. I've been doing it for 45 years, and I know you've been doing it a long time. It is now just become a part of our being. We don't go, oh, today I'm going to watch for synchronicities. Oh, today I'm going to be impeccable with my speech. We don't have to think about it because it is part of our living, and then
Yeah.
when we notice, and writing them down is very important, because it also gives you an opportunity to have a moment of gratitude.
Yes.
Gratitude is such a powerful emotion, and it lets you become aware that you're not wandering around helplessly as we blunder through life, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we got to get this done. And then you realize that all of this would have been accomplished, and you could have just been sitting back saying, "Oh, well, that worked out. Oh, that worked out." You know?
No, it's coming in a beautiful way. And, we just need to pay attention, to be aware, awake, being here. And basically, um, yeah, as you said, I became obsessed with the numbers because I saw them all over the place from early
we,
morning to
we,
late night.
we do. We're children. Oh, look at this pretty little thing. I mean, that's the part of the learning, and that's nothing wrong with that.
Plus something else, when we are focusing very much on something, it's going to increase,
Hmm.
right?
Very much
Because
so.
yeah, where attention goes, energy grows.
That's right. I
Yes.
mean, if you've ever decided, well, I'm going to use this as a good one. I never saw so many pregnant women in my life until I became pregnant, and then every woman was pregnant. Or if you have you just purchased that new item that you have, and then all of a sudden you see everybody has them because your focus is on that. And
Yes.
but this is the joy of being human, and I always encourage people to. It's okay. It's okay to start exploring a deeper part of yourself. It's not going to be that you have to all of a sudden go put on a loincloth and sit up in a cold mountaintop somewhere. That's isolation. That's not involvement. That's not being part of the experiment of being human. And just allow the little changes, the little subtleties. It's not going to change you in a way that you're going to never wear makeup again. Or you're never going to wear shiny flashy clothes, but it's going to enhance your life so much that these little subtle things that are helping guide us to our deeper understanding and to our pure human. This is
Yeah,
wonderful.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is wonderful. And awareness is the door opening, right? So the
Yep.
more we become aware of synchronicities, the more they seem to occur. This is not because the universe all of a sudden changes, it's because our perception expands
Yep.
and we focus our energy. We begin to notice the connections that were always there, right? But we
Hmm.
didn't see them because we had our attention, our perception somewhere else. So awareness is the key that unlocks the flow of guidance. You can also call synchronicity for guidance. And
Absolutely.
synchronicities act as a compass, pointing us toward our soul's path if we listen to them. We don't need to run and scream, I need to be fast on that track.
Yeah.
Just be chilled. Take one step at a time. And synchronicities help us make decisions, meet the right people, and discover opportunities that align with our purpose. And I can, I think I told this before, and this is a big miracle for me. So when I divorced and moved back to Sweden from Greece in 2002, 2001 actually, um, you had to stay in line for having an apartment or something in Stockholm for 10 years at least. Well, I got my apartment maybe 9 months after that. A miracle, right? Because I got to the right people, I got the right advice, and I could find the way. So when we are also experiencing things, and I had a belief that I left long ago, right? So a strong belief that if I meet any kind of resistance on my path, I'm on the wrong path. No, it's not accurate. Sometimes that may mean, I don't mean really bad stuff, right? But
Yeah.
I mean, we need sometimes to be persistent in this world because it's the world also we need to conquer, not
Hmm.
only finding ourselves within, right? So giving up just because I see that that path is going to have me to put in a much effort, so I'm going to choose something else. No, but if you have tried and struggled for 10 years to get to something where you see maybe that is somewhere you need to question, and I don't expect someone to, yeah, I told it a little bit funny, right? Um, but sometimes you need maybe to change direction. But synchronicity works in the way that you know what you want to accomplish, where you want to go, um, and what you need or think, because sometimes we do need things. We need food, shelter,
Yes.
roof over our heads and clothes and stuff. So when you open one door, you don't really see the whole picture from the beginning, but it doesn't really matter. You know that, okay, I go open that one door, and then there may be a standstill. You walk in some sort of corridor and you don't know, everything is closed, and all of a sudden something opens up, right?
Yes. And to understand that, there again, we've talked a lot about rhythm and balance, and we have a tendency to abruptly, as you said, if it's not working, it's not working. It's just not working that way. And
Yes,
to
exactly.
to allow yourself to go, okay, well, this color isn't working, but if I blend this with this color and then I get that color and then it works. So it's a matter of just allowing the process to work and understanding that if your intent is to do that, then eventually it will become the reality without force. But it's when you
Yes.
get anxious and you start saying, I'm not doing this right, what am I doing, and start putting the fear and the questions and everything. And and also balance. You're going to have a sense that maybe 10 years I should be thinking of another direction. But this
Yes,
but
exactly.
this is the process. And I find that in relationships, people will stay with each other and they'll say, well, until the kids get raised, or until we get this bill paid, or until we do this, and so on and so forth. And this is a prudent thought to have. But then you start measuring, what are the other signs that are being said? What if during that time when you're tenaciously hanging on to that relationship, and an opportunity to move to another location presents itself, and you go, no, 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 I've got to stay with this? Look at it, check it out, because that might be the synchronicity that's allowing you to resolve what you're going through now. It's the ability to stay in the now and read each new synchronicity that comes in without fear. When we eliminate
Yeah.
fear, then it becomes, oh, well, that looks like a little path we can take. Or maybe this is, oh, well, maybe that's going to go this way. Instead of saying, well, I'm going to have to stay here until then. And so this is the part that's the beautiful thing about spirituality, is it's fluid. It's
Yeah, it is fluid.
very fluid.
But at the same time, when we have very fixed ideas about something and we are resisting changing a little bit direction, sometimes very slightly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, or we have too many visions ourselves about how things should look like, we are locking up the energy,
Yep.
right? And resistance is like fear, something that it stems from fear because we don't know what's going to come. We want it to be our way or the highway, right? But
Yes.
our way. And if it doesn't come exactly that, and I can actually say that nothing on this path is going to come exactly as we can see it from the beginning, because we don't
Exactly.
know the whole path forward. And that's okay because we don't need to. We don't need to have that kind of control. We need to trust in that I'm not going to make wrong decisions because I can't make wrong um, choices and decisions, right? I can only make those that I feel right there and then. If I
That's
made decisions in the past that I'm questioning today, That means that maybe I did them in the past and that was the best option I had then, right? Because
That's
it's
right.
not like everything is brought open at the same time. So don't punish yourselves for that if you're listening to this, because we always try to make the best choices we can from what we have at that current moment.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, and that is all we can do, because until another option comes along, we don't have a choice. Um, I loved what you said here about the spiritual dimension. Why don't you delve into that a little bit?
Okay. I just want to talk a little bit first about living in alignment. Is that okay?
Oh, perfect,
Because
perfect.
just to sum it up, to experience synchronicity more often, we must live in alignment with our true selves. Listen, being here with ourselves,
Hmm.
listening to our intuition, acting with integrity, and staying open to possibility. When our thoughts, emotions, and actions are in harmony, we become magnets for meaningful encounters. That's fantastic. And it is so true, exactly how it works. So,
Yes.
the spiritual dimension. The 11th insight teaches us that synchronicity is not just psychological, it is spiritual. It reflects the presence of divine guidance in our lives. As we evolve spiritually, we become more receptive to messages from the unseen realms. We begin to understand that we are never alone. The universe is always communicating. Yes. And becoming more sensitive means that we are picking up all of that, right?
Hmm.
A part for people which they ask a lot about is I've become so sensitive that I have a challenge to interact with others. It can feel like that sometimes in stages. But in reality, it we need to become the masters of our sensitivity. And when we do, we don't feel like we need to go to that mountain top or into the monastery or, getting away from people. Of course, everybody needs a little bit time with themselves off and on, but it's not going to drain you of that energy. It's not going to um, make you feel overwhelmed, right? It's a stage, it's a phase, it's temporarily as you walk on your path to discover yourself. At the same time, if you are a little bit stubborn like me, I had a phase that lasted for quite a couple of years, I think, because people were stepping on me when I went into town, for instance. And, you know, um, and And I, what do you say? Call this elbow.
Elbows. Yes.
Sometime. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, coming on to me or pushing me or whatever. And I said, "What the heck is going on here?" Because only me, not my friends, because it stirred something up within me. And usually I get irritated, and with anger and irritation, that's a lot of energy. But that is how I learned that all our emotions contain a lot of energy, even those who we feel are not that great to have. Because usually, people, when we are angry, we want, take me out of here. I don't want to be angry, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, that is also energy. We can use that in a constructive way. And when I learned that, it took me a couple of years to learn that, but actually, maybe because I'm stubborn and temper and everything. But I realized because I'm reacting to it and my response is anger and irritation. So it's increasing because it was kind of chaotic at some point.
Yes.
I even had someone with those baby carriages running over my foot one time.
Yes, and that was pretty recent, you know. Even when you're walking with canes and everything else, and they just it's like you're not there. Uh, but the beauty is that over time we've been given a lot of wonderful tools to use, and I used mine yesterday. The in the four agreements, and I was doing a financial transaction, and the man that was helping me had just dealt with another customer, and he was just out of it from this. Well, I'm watching what he's doing, and he was doing it differently than the people that had done it before. So I simply asked the question, this is the way that I want to do it, and to make sure. And he says, well, I'm wearing a red coat. And he says, that's then because I know what I'm doing, I'm wearing the red coat. And I realized that he was reacting to what had happened before. And I simply said, I appreciate that that you're helping me at this time. I said, I have a challenge with making sure that I do everything correctly. And therefore, I was checking on myself. So I completely diffused it. He was no longer angry at me. He didn't feel he had to defend himself because I wasn't challenging him. But I also needed to know that I was perceiving what he was doing was going to be correct for me. So instead of it getting into a heated argument, using the tools of the four agreements allowed me to diffuse that situation. And I think because we read that book so many years ago, because we are
Yeah.
aware that we have this divine guidance, we allow ourselves to learn about the numbers, to learn about the four agreements, to learn about utilizing these things. And as wonderful human beings, we are having that experience too. And that's what we came to
Mm.
do.
Yes, exactly. It is. But I love the fact that when you are in the midst of something, you don't always appreciate it. But when
No,
you look
never.
in in the back mirror, you can see, oh yeah, now I appreciate that
Oh
because it
yeah,
brought me
yeah.
somewhere.
Yes. That is so true. That is so true. Oh, but it's a
And
wonderful.
yeah, it is a wonderful thing. And I think we are coming to the juicy part. We have a collective awakening and we are actually living it right now, aren't we?
Yes.
And
Because
this means that people pay attention to what's going on. People start questioning things, and that's a huge part of the spiritual path. Really questioning the way things have been, right?
hmm
Because have I adapted to that thought or action, or why do I think I have that value? Where's that coming from? Is it mine or is it something else, right? So for me, what I perceive, oh, sorry, coughing. Um, it's like the world is, those people are awakening. They take a step back and observe and then start to properly take action to something that's going to be more in alignment with them because that's how it comes with the questioning part, right?
hmm
So, as more people awaken to the power of synchronicity, a shift occurs in collective consciousness and it ripples like those rings on water.
hmm
We start to see life as interconnected, purposeful, and sacred. This awareness fosters compassion, sorry, creativity, and collaboration. Sorry. It helps us build a world guided by intuition and love. In essence, synchronicity is the language of the soul.
Perfect.
Sorry. It speaks through symbols, encounters, and timing. Just taking a sip. By learning to listen, we deepen our connection to the divine and discover that every moment holds meaning.
Yes. Yes. And this is one of the gifts that we discover when we start living this way. And it encourages us to live in the now and not live in the future, not live in the past. And speaking of that, my daughter said to me one time, um, because I've been having to make a lot of appointments, and that's living in the future. But I mean, that's we live in that time dimension at this present moment. And I realize that I live so much in the now that the past just got me to the present. It didn't. I don't live back there, so I don't go, oh, I remember when I was this. I have memories, but it's like watching a movie. It's not like an impact. And I realized that because I live in the moment, I'm not planning for what's going to happen. And so then I have to sit down and say, okay, I do have that appointment on that day, and put it down and then have it remembered. But then I go back immediately to living in the now. And the synchronicity helps keep me grounded. And I love that the language of the soul, it speaks through symbols, encounters, and timing. That was
It does.
perfectly spoken.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So, like always, do you want to sit on the hot spot, the hot chair?
Oh yeah, because I know I can always throw it back at you.
So, we just love to put in 5 questions. So, both for us to answer them from our perspective, but also for all of you who are listening
Hmm.
to ponder about them. What
Okay.
what would be your answer to each and every question, right?
Yes.
So, and these questions are based on the 11th insight and invite deeper reflection on synchronicity and spiritual alignment. Sorry, I don't know what happened to my voice. Maybe someone say to me, don't talk so much. I'm just kidding. So, what recent coincidence felt too meaningful to ignore, and what might it be trying to show you?
That's interesting. Uh, because personally, I've been compelled to start acknowledging more on an outward level that my purpose here is very meaningful, and I need to step up to the challenge. And if it takes looking at myself from a different perspective, then that's what I need to do.
Yeah,
And kept getting all of these indications, and I questioned them. Is that coming from my ego? Is that coming from a need to do this? Is it, or is it coming from my soul that is saying this is the next step? And this was very personal. This has been happening this week, so I mean, it's not like it happened before. I'm living this experience right now, and but I'm open to it, and I am going to allow the possibilities, and I'm going to not force my opinions on the outcome. I'm going to say, okay, I'm getting these subtle things. Now just listen. And so that's where I am right now.
That's perfect. So, second question.
Ooh,
When you
another one.
follow your intuition, yes, there are five. So prepare.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. When you follow your intuition, what shifts in your energy or surroundings? When you follow your intuition, what shifts in your energy or surroundings do you notice?
Do I notice? I notice things like uh, the words that need to be said in the situation seem to flow effortlessly. I notice that instead of, let's say I'm driving, and instead of hitting every red light, they're all green. I notice that when I get to an area, there's a parking space waiting for me. I notice that when I am in that environment and that energy, that it's like everything is smoothed out. I still have situations that may have to be handled, but the journey was much more easily done. And it's it's as if I'm in this bubble of protection, and it says, okay, yes, you have to do this stuff today, but we're just going to take you along, and if you just allow, and if you listen to what it tells you to say, and intuition, it's the one that says, I really need to go and get copies made of this today. I know what I'm going to use them for is 2 weeks away, but I need to go get copies, because how do I know that from that day on, my week is going to be so filled that I won't be able to go get copies?
Yeah,
That's when you're using your intuition.
exactly. And that is also when you don't listen to your intuition, you remember, well, I was thinking about that, but I, I didn't do it, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Darn, you could have listened.
Yes, exactly. I have from last year, and I still make a joke out of it because I healed nicely. Of course, not exactly like I was before, but I'm talking about breaking my leg, and my intuition told me, don't go, don't step up on the bicycle, don't do it. But stubborn Anne with all Anne's past experiences, but I've done it so many times. I mean, I've done even some competition couple of times, not very long, but 50 kilometers
So
with
that's long.
bicycle. Yeah, but I liked it, and going back and forth, and like having that self-confidence. If I want to bring down Mount Everest, I'm going to be able to do it, right? I still have that confidence, but I do listen to my intuition better.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not ignoring it
And every
because
now,
that,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
every now and then we get a synchronicity that says, "Listen, listen,"
Yeah,
and we go,
we-
uh, you know,
yeah, but
that
some, even that thing, yeah, it is what it is, and you do what you have to do. You just find yourself in kind of a situation you didn't really expect, but you do whatever you can with it, right? That's
that's
it.
right. Yeah. So, and
So
that's the beauty. Yes.
that's the beauty. How do you recognize the difference between random events and divine guidance?
Oh, that's a challenge. That's a challenge. Um, to be perfectly honest, utilizing all of the gifts of humanity, meaning our gut. How does it feel? Um, am I doing this and do I get a good feeling from it, or is thinking about this causing me a bad feeling? Um, it sounded like a good idea. I had a great idea that I wanted to go work in another city that's right next to Mesa, where it's what I was doing, massage and everything else, was a little bit more mainstream, and I would probably have a better job there. And I went and took an interview, and I'm there, and all of a sudden, that was a random thought that I would go do this. And then I start getting this achy feeling in my stomach. And I'm standing there literally saying out loud to myself, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I was trying to convince myself when everything in my essence said, no, this is not for you. Run away, go. And fortunately, I did listen. And I would have put myself in a situation where every day I was forcing myself to go into a situation that was not good for me. And I was not listening to that divine guidance of don't
Yeah.
do this. And
Yeah.
stubbornly, because because I thought that it might have more prestige, but I would have either ended up being fired or quitting, and it would have been a bad experience. And I just, after the interview, and yes, they wanted me, and I said, well, give me a couple of days to think about it. I got in my car and ran away from there so fast because there was just something. But if I had ignored that and not listened to the divine guidance, I would have. I don't even want to go where it might have taken me. Excuse me. So
No, and sometimes we take that little side step and we don't listen to our gut or, the intuition or divine guidance. I think that for me, um, I don't believe in random events actually because they don't really happen very often. It's usually um, in the flow we live in. It's just things just happen, and I make choices, my conscious choices about
yep.
things, like you did. Um, and therefore, it's maybe easier sometimes when things doesn't go turn out in the way that we are thinking. That okay, hey, well, it is what it is. I do what I can with what I currently have. That's what I developed last year, right?
Yes.
And then I look forward, and then we take the next step. But also having that sense and belief in yourself, I think you have that too, because you know you're going to heal no matter what. You're going to
Mhm.
heal no matter how complicated. Did you say complicated over there? No, 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 no. Right?
It's just something to move through, and I go, well, this is going to be interesting. you know.
Yes, it's going to be interesting. Let's see what's going to be from coming from this. So,
Yeah.
what patterns or symbols seem to repeat in your life, and what do they whisper to your soul?
Oh, you might as well have asked me how old I am and how much I weigh, because that is really a personal question, isn't it? you know, that is interesting because, um, like you and I, we have been on this journey that when we start noticing that we may be affected by a pattern or something that was in our past, I think we immediately go into, okay, what is this saying to us and how do I resolve this before it becomes an issue? But
Yeah,
in my younger years, I can definitely tell you that one of the first times that I recognized that things needed to be changed from a pattern that I was repeating. And this was before I got into this new world that I'm in. And I realized after my divorce that each man that I was dating was the same. After I dated a couple of times and then I started seeing the behavior coming out, it was the same man that I had married. And something within me shifted and said, unless I change my pattern, I'm
Yeah.
going to constantly be bringing in the same scenario. Different face, maybe exciting for a while, but then when the newness wears off, it's the same persona. And I made a conscious change to not date until I started working on myself. And then I made another conscious statement that I was looking for a man that had also been doing his homework because I wasn't
Yeah.
there to fix anything. And it really made a shift happen. And and it was a whisper. It was a whisper. It wasn't like I had to fall and get into a bad relationship, then get out of a bad relationship. I started noticing it very quickly in when I was dating, and I had the courage to listen to that whisper,
Yeah.
not knowing where it was going to lead me, and do something about it. And so I'm grateful that my tenacity to stay in this and make it work, I was able to say, no way, go away.
Yes. That's good. Like last week's show, right?
That's right.
Now you triggered a memory with me and for me when I was maybe 17, 18 years of age. And I had a boyfriend. It was before the one who died. And he wasn't really my type. So we didn't have a long lasting. You know, when you are younger, sometimes you have it for a month or two.
Yeah.
And the day he took his driver's license, he was so proud. He came, picked me up with a car, and I broke up. And he said, "Why? You can't break up with me today because I just got my driver's license." Yeah. And I said, maybe that's a good thing for you then, because you are happy about something. But I don't think we are made for each other. You know, because he tried to convince me. You cannot really convince me of something. You need I think that's a part of who we are when we listen. And I had that from childhood actually, because I was taught that way that, don't just try to convince me because you're trying to fool me into something, right?
Right.
You're going to try to be genuine if you're going to succeed with that, right?
Yes.
He wasn't a fake or anything, but he was not my type.
Well,
And I was kind of straight on point, right?
yes, but even at that young age, you were sensing that you didn't have to be in that relationship just because everybody else was. You had a
No,
higher esteem of yourself instead of just saying, well, at least I have a boyfriend. And the stuff that we feed ourselves when we're trying to convince ourselves. And this shows how, in reality, even as young as we are, there are parts of us that are really us, and they come out when we really need them. And thank goodness, because I could have ended up
yes,
in all kinds of different things.
yes, exactly. So, in what ways are you already living in flow, and where might you invite more trust? And I think that is a question that we probably answered, but I let you answer anyway.
No, I think that's been answered because I cannot comprehend living like I used to live. Um, when I look back on having experienced so many different things, and yes, who I really was came through when I really needed it, but not living in the flow. I don't know how well. I know
How that works.
it would not be like this, you know.
No, but I think we can say I'm also living in the flow. I'm not over the top worrying of something. I go with my emotions. Sometimes I do. So I laugh. I get angry. I cry. Um, I swear sometimes. But I get it out, and then things are getting better. And it's very freeing to live in this way. So
Yes,
because maybe in the beginning when we are transforming, it can feel challenging, right? Because we need to turn ourselves inside out a little bit. Like when we are passing through something called the dark night of the soul. And I think you passed that too, and me too. And that can
always.
feel
Yep,
really challenging, really, really. For me, it lasted a little bit more than a couple of years, actually, to be honest.
yep,
And I couldn't for my life figure out what am I doing wrong. I'm trying to do so many things, but there was there was the answer. Don't fight it. Uh, be in the now. Just be here. Okay, being in the now doesn't mean that we always have that great feeling that this is exactly where I want to be because life happens, right?
yes,
But when we stop the resistance, that's how we can come out of that. We are holding on to things with resistance, with fear, with all those things. So leave those behind, acknowledge them when they are popping up, but leave them behind and go and live in the flow. By the way, that medium that told me that Sue showed herself for her, I went to her for couple of times, two, three times in many, many years ago for readings and stuff. And she said to me, "Don't hold on to the edges. Go with the flow." And I didn't really understand what she meant. And I said,
yes,
"What do you mean?"
yes.
Yes, going with the flow. Maybe you want to expand on that. What does it mean to go with the flow?
Going with the flow, to me, is I envision this leaf that is floating down the river, and the current is carrying it, and it has an opportunity to have adventures here and adventures here. But when a leaf gets stuck and it's hanging onto the side of the river, it's not going to flow. And humans have a tendency to hang on to the past or hang on to a thought pattern that keeps them staying where they can't enjoy the fullness of what is available to them. And in that question you ask, where might you invite more trust? And I think trust is like a snowflake, and it's very fragile. And when it's been broken, it's hard to get it back. But when you start learning to trust yourself and trust your intuition as your guide and not listening to all the other opinions, that's when you start developing more trust. And that's where you can bring more trust into what you do. And it takes a lot of the uh, trepidation out of making a decision. And
It does. Yeah.
but going with the flow is I think of it a lot when I see people and they're getting ready to cross a busy street and they want to turn against the traffic and there's 3 lanes. Now, it's a situation where they're going to sit there until they find that opportunity, and they don't, and they're going to be stubborn and sit there. Well, I'll turn with the flow of the traffic, go up a half a block, turn around and come back, and they're still sitting there stubbornly waiting till their chance. And then they may cause cars to screech and everything else. But going with the flow doesn't mean that just because someone else is doing it, you do it absentmindedly. It is that you understand that the flow can carry you until you find the place where you want to, to make that exit. So it's not
Yeah.
blind, oh, well, everybody else is doing it, so I'm going to do it. That's a big difference. That's not what we're talking about.
No.
But
We're
allowing,
talking about allowing being in the flow in the present moment
yes,
in your own unique way, listening to you.
exactly, exactly.
So, what do you say? Are we ready to start wrapping it up?
Well, again, um, I love the people that are listening to us, and we randomly go from this to that to everything else. But I think that we've brought it all together, and understanding that allowing the synchronicities to give our intuition the what it needs to create an intent. I think this is what we can learn from all of this, that we are powerful, we are not alone, and we get all of this information coming in, and maybe we just need to clean our ears out.
Yeah, maybe.
And thank you very much. I enjoy this.
I enjoy this too. And next upcoming show here on Cosmic Sister Show with beautiful Corinne and Anne is next Wednesday, October 15th. And we will talk about go with the flow and allow things to grow.
Oh,
Oh, how
really?
fitting. Yeah,
Oh, that was just kind of a synchronistic way to bring that in. I see.
exactly. So we launched a 12-part series in May this year where we are diving into the Celestine prophecy by James Redfield. And today we talked about Insight 11, which is great about synchronicity. And we have one more insight in 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks after that, we had a summary of all 12 insights.
Yeah.
And then we come full circle with this series, right? So
Yes.
you can find upcoming and past episodes. Sorry, I'm trying to talk slow. At angelplaceonearth.com/upcoming-past and youtube.com/@angelplaceonearth/streams. You can find our series at angelplaceonearth.com/series-cosmic-guardians. So we do go live for you every Wednesday in US and Europe and every Thursday in Australia, all year round, right? And you can connect with us, find upcoming shows, past episode, read articles and more, and find Corinne and myself, of course, and all Corinne's emails and websites and everything at angelplaceonearth.com/cosmic-guardians. And as we close this sacred circle today, may you carry the whispers of synchronicity into your everyday moments. Let the signs speak louder. Let the coincidences feel deeper. Let your soul recognize the rhythm of divine timing in all things. You are not wandering, you are being guided. You are not guessing, you are remembering. You're not alone. The universe is always in conversation with you. Until next time, stay open to the magic, stay anchored in your truth, and keep walking with wonder. We see you, we honor you, we hear you, we walk beside you.
That was beautiful.
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm I'm I'm
That was
speechless.
beautiful.
That was beautiful. Yes. Yes. So
So
I just want to say, listen to what that she just said right there, because if I had thought about it, I would have been saying that. But we do see you. We are walking with you. We are walking beside you, not in front or behind. We are walking beside you. And every path that everyone takes is uniquely theirs. And that's what makes it beautiful. Bless you.
bless you. Thank you and bye.
Bye bye.